So this book has a bit of a cheesy name, but there are some really good lessons I took from it. So the main idea in this book is, surprise, surprise, think big. So what's the main barrier stopping us from thinking big? Well, Mark Schwartz tells us it's a disease called excusitis. You want to start that project that you've been dreaming about for a while? Well, there are 1,000 excuses you can come up with why it would never work and it isn't even worth it. One of the most common excuses is age. You think you're too young to pursue your goal and start a business? Well, Mark Zuckerberg started while he was in college. You think you're too old to start a business? Well, Ray Kroc bought McDonald's when he was almost 60. And it doesn't have to be starting a business. This is about any dream you want to achieve. Another very common excuse is, I don't have enough time. Well, let's do some math. You spend 40 hours at work, 40 hours sleeping, 10 commuting, 10 playing with your children, 10 hours eating, 10 hours relaxing, and 10 hours of romantic time with your spouse. Well, guess what? This adds up to 130 hours, while there are 168 hours in a week. Even with some time for your family and time for relaxation, you can definitely find 10 to 20 hours a week to pursue your goals. So what Mark Schwartz tells us to do is to stop thinking if we can do it and start thinking how we can do it. Sounds like some cheesy generic advice, right? Well, let's go through an example to illustrate this point. So here's a question. Do you think it's possible to live in a world without prisons? Think about it for a few seconds. Most people will think about it a little bit and then simply conclude that no, it's not possible. How about this question? How would you design a world if there were no prisons? Again, I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. I thought about this for only a couple of seconds, and I already came up with a couple of ways to make this happen. Lower inequality so that the poorest people in the country don't have to commit crime to survive. Provide free subsidized psychotherapy to anyone under a certain level of income who can't afford it. Provide free services for people to overcome drug addictions. Make sure all teenagers have access to good role models. Now, I'm sure you can find many holes in my arguments, of course, but that's not the point. The point here is, we went from simply deciding a world without prisons is not possible to thinking of 4 ideas which can be a very good starting point to designing a world without prisons. The only difference was a small twist to how the question was asked. So if I was thinking, is it possible for me to build a YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers? It's a big dream, and I can come up with many excuses why it's not possible. I'm too young, my voice isn't good enough, YouTube already has millions of videos. Well, what if I phrase the question differently? How can I gain 100,000 subscribers? Well, make at least 1 video a week, and with practice my videos will become really good that I will deserve that many subscribers. And if I commit to reading a book a week and making these videos for the rest of my life, then it's only a matter of time until I achieve that silver play button. So the key here is to asking how this can be achieved rather than if it can. Now, having this knowledge is great, but knowledge is useless if we don't turn it into action. So here's the action step inspired by this book. Drop all the excuses right now and think of a big goal that you want to achieve. Pause the video if you want some time to think about it. Now that you have that goal in mind, stop yourself from asking the question, is this possible? Instead, ask yourself, how is this possible? And then write down all the ideas you come up with. So I want you to never allow yourself to ask the question, is it possible? The action step inspired by this book, for myself and for everyone watching this video, is ask yourself, how is it possible?